So what's the foundation of any estate plan for an individual 50 years of age or older? It has to encompass the necessity of Medicaid planning. The first thing that we have to do is that in the event that you're looking at that sort of event horizon, you need to begin taking your non-exempt assets and making them exempt assets. One of the examples is that you can take a whole life insurance policy and transition that to a paid in full term policy. A term policy is an exempt asset. A whole life policy is not an exempt asset. So you make that transition over and you find an insurance company who understands why it is that you're doing that. Another thing that you can do that a lot of people forget to do is that you can buy a Medicaid compliant annuity from a reputable insurance company here that's registered in the state of Wyoming that provides a certain amount of money per month to your spouse while you're institutionalized. If you follow the parameters that are specified by the state, then that annuity is going to be an exempt asset as well. Another thing that you can do is that you can take out a reverse mortgage on your home and use those funds to live over a period of time and buy things that are going to make you more comfortable. For example, let's say that you had a $600,000 house. Now, as you remember, there's a $500,000 exemption. The $600,000 house is paid for in full. You take out a $300,000 mortgage, you put in a wheelchair ramp, you put in a new kitchen, and you buy a new car. That now has reduced the value of your home below $500,000 and has given you the means by which to live comfortably for the next 10 to 20 years. These are all things that you can do. The last thing that we're going to talk about here today is going to be a Medicaid Asset Protection Trust. What you can do in the state of Wyoming is that you can transfer your assets to the Medicaid Asset Protection Trust as a means by which to attempt to take them out of your estate. If you make it 5 years in the clawback period, those assets stay out of your estate and the government cannot give to them. If you don't make it that 5-year period, then they're going to assess a penalty against you and you will have to pay for your care facility for a period of time. You reduce that care facility period of time penalty period by what they call a reverse half-a-loaf strategy, which is something that you can implement in the event that it becomes necessary. The state recognizes it, as do most states, and it's something that's an advanced planning technique. But the point is, once you're in the facility, there's still a lot of things that you can do to preserve your estate for the benefit of your spouse who's in the community or for the benefit of your kids who are relying on that state to provide for their well-being during the course of their life as well. So never take the attitude that there's not something that you can do and something that you should be doing. The law allows it. You have to disclose it fully to the state. You have to disclose it to the Department of Health and to the Medicaid personnel. You can't hide this stuff. You cannot go out and transfer assets and then fail to tell the government about it because they will put you in jail. That's not the purpose of this. What your purpose is that you want to make sure that the people that you're dealing with get what they're entitled to by statute. Those are the rules. That's the law. Comply with the law. Take advantage of what's there. You don't have to break yourself. You don't have to break your spouse, and you don't have to break your family paying for a skilled nursing facility when all of these options are available to you. So, when you do your estate plan, talk to your estate planning attorney about your Medicaid plan, because that is the most exigent possibility in your life after the age of 50. And we've just gone over those statistics. If you haven't addressed them and you haven't structured your estate to provide for that, then you're not getting a good estate plan. The thing to remember about estate taxation is that the current exemption for an individual is $5.5 million and for a couple is $11 million. That means that only 0.14% of all individuals in the United States are subject to that. I saw a statistic the other day that said there's 3 people in the state of West Virginia that have an estate tax issue. I did estate tax planning for a lot of years, and if you remember Gary Cohen, who is the chief financial advisor to President Trump right now under Mr. Mnuchin, basically said the only people who get trapped by estate taxes are morons, and they probably deserve under cultural Darwinism not to have the money in the first place. Now, he was excoriated for that point of view by the Democrats, but that's been my view for years. If you get caught by estate taxation and your estate's between 11 and 40 million, you're a fool. You just have not engaged an attorney to provide for estate tax planning, which is something that you should be doing as a matter of course. As to the rest of us who do not have $11 million or more, our biggest issue is going to be Medicaid planning. So why would you not look your estate planner in the face, address that issue, and take care of that? So what do? Go to your estate planning attorney. Develop a fundamental estate plan, typically involving a revocable living trust, advanced healthcare directives, durable powers of attorney, that sort of thing, to take care of you. Second thing, sit down with your financial planner, go through your financial asset list. In that financial asset list, what do you have? Why do you have it? Second of all, you compare that to what are exempt assets, what are non-exempt assets, how do I structure that going forward so that I can eventually qualify for Medicaid on a very straightforward basis and provide for my family while I'm in that facility. Long-term care insurance. If you don't have it and you're under the age of 50, you should go get it. But if you're over the age of 50, odds are that you cannot qualify for that on a cost-effective basis. Last thing is Medicaid exemption planning. You've got to sit down with your financial planning specialist, with your attorney, with your accountant, with your financial advisor, and work out in detail what it is that you're going to do when it is that you need to do it. There's absolutely no reason that you should be caught like a deer in the headlights. And if your financial planning people don't understand what it is that you're doing, get new financial planning help. Don't stick with it. Don't stick with somebody who's not moving forward and keeping up with the times. All right, so the purpose principally of the Medicaid Asset Protection Trust is to keep for your benefit things that you need to live while you're alive. How do you maintain control of those assets but yet not have them a part of your Medicaid estate? That's a very particular type of planning that you have to address with your attorney, and you have to address the specifics of what it is that you need to move forward. Because let's be honest, you only have something while you're alive anyway. I've never seen a luggage rack on a hearse as it goes by. So you never have more than a life estate to begin with. So if you approach your estate plan with that in mind, you're not going to be disappointed by the results. Ultimately, the best estate plan allows you to do this. You get to give what you have to the people that you want, the way that you want, when you want it, without governmental interference. And that's the purpose of a qualified Medicaid estate plan. So what is it that we're trying to accomplish here today? First of all, you want to provide for the long-term care for yourself or another loved one. You want to assure the financial security of those living at home after you become incarcerated in a care facility. And the final thing is you want to preserve your property to the best of your ability for your descendants rather than giving it to the government. At the end of the day, the government comes back and they look at you and they say, look, you didn't pay for Medicaid. And I have to say, yeah, you're right. There wasn't a specific line item on my checks that said I was paying for Medicaid, but I recall writing tax checks every year for the last 45 years that said U.S. government on it, and I sent it in with my 1040. So to say that I didn't pay for my Medicaid coverage, I think is not true.